Well, initially I was a public defender. I'm originally from New Jersey. I came to Cleveland primarily to go to law school. And then after law school, I ended up working at the public defender's office. I was going to go back home. And then the lawyers there talked me into staying, and I represented indigent defendants for 13 years, and then I decided to run for office. I first ran for office in 1985, and I ran against an incumbent judge in the Cleveland Municipal Court. I lost by 300 votes. So then I ran again in 1987, and I won. And I served there for a full term, and decided that my vote totals were so high I could probably win in county. And so then I decided that I would campaign to come up to the Common Pleas Court. I've always been in politics. My grandfather was a Baptist minister and was a leader in the community. And I saw him engaged in church politics and civil rights. And so I always wanted to do something. And I was involved in civil rights when I was in Jersey and when I was in undergraduate school. And it just seemed to be a natural course after law school. I thought that everybody that the government was accusing of a crime was innocent. And so I wanted to free all the people in the jail to make sure that they weren't in there unfairly. It means a lot. And the reason is because when you're growing up, as I did in the 50s and 60s, and you hear history, and you were always left out of the equation, you always said to yourself, like, what role did my ancestors play in that? Like, I wonder what my community was doing when all of this was happening. And you kind of, at that time, there wasn't that much research material available to understand what the difference was. But just coming now and seeing that people really were doing things to try to be free. They were trying to make a difference. They were trying to elevate themselves. It's exciting to know. It's exciting, and it builds your character to know from where you've come and what you have to overcome. And it's inspiring to find out, about Ida B. Wells and see what she did, and to know that you can relate to her. So Black History Month is very, very important because it allows everybody to understand. And I think that when you travel the world and you see people of different cultures and people with different backgrounds, I think that when you can understand the history of the people, then you find out people are the same. And you can have a more profound love for people just in general. And you can accept the differences as educational. And it becomes, the differences actually make you more accepting of the people and not less accepting of the people. Well, there's a lot. I love Ida B. Wells. For what she did. I love Malcolm X for what he did. I followed him when I was a youngster. I think that all of the people who were involved in civil rights, although they were different, I think they all played a significant part in the development of our progressive community. And but I have a tendency to like women as figures better than I do guys. And I don't know, I like them all. I like Coretta Scott King. I liked her. I thought that she was good. We have a local woman that's in Cleveland that is not well known, but is very active in civil rights, Reverend Moss's wife, Edwina Moss, who was very active in civil rights, and just to talk to them and see what they went through and see what they were thinking and see what they thought about their struggle and how they overcame. It's inspiring, and it lets you know that you can do it too. Well, I think that first you have to have the desire, and I think that then you got to say to yourself, am I ready to commit myself to what it takes? I don't think that it's the same for young people now that it was for me when I was in law school. I think that there's much more support for women than it was when I started in law. I think there's much more support for people of color now than there was before. So I would say that the commitment is going to be important. What do you want? What do you want to do? There are people out there that are watching and waiting to see you do great things. And I think it requires a commitment. The unfortunate thing that the impact that a career like this can have on a female is that because of the commitment that it requires, you miss out on certain things. You'll notice that a lot of the women are divorced, are not married, or can't find a husband because they commit themselves to excellence for so long that those things that like courting and dating and developing relationships, they lose that. And so I would say that if you want a successful career in the practice of law, I think that it does require a great deal of commitment. I think it requires hard work. I think that you have to be focused and say to yourself, you know, what do I want out of this? And then you have to reach for it. Yes, I think that it's important. I think that you see a difference in the addition of women to the court that's been significant in terms of just generally child support and the importance of being able to obtain child support, and the women on the Supreme Court who said, okay, if you don't pay your child support, you can't have a license. And it's made such a big difference. And it took women to be on the court to make that kind of difference. So I think that everybody brings something to it. And I think that when you have a mixture of the cultures, a mixture of backgrounds, I think that's what we have in terms of arriving at true justice, you know. And I think that I would like to see more women, and I know we have more than we ever had, but I think I agree with Justice Ginsburg when I say I like to see them all. You know, I like to see all women, but and I think that women are more sensitive. I think that they evaluate well, and I think that they're less personal in their assessments. So I think that I would like to see more women. Of course, I would like to see more people of color, but I think that everybody should be involved. I think that we need some Asians on the bench. I think that we need some people of Latin backgrounds on the bench. I think that we need to have all varieties on the bench. And I think that then we can talk about what, you know, you can see the difference that it would bring. Because they would sensitize the rest of us and make us all say, okay, you know, in terms of fairness, this is where we ought to be. I'm not afraid to include other people and include different cultures and young people and, you know, all that. The young people on this bench are very nice to me, you know, and they look out for me, and they, you know, and I know now I get treated like the old judge, but I like it. I do. I like it because they look out for me and they do wonderful things for me.